It's crazy because, and we're going to talk a little bit about this later, but I guess I might as well ask it now because it's on my mind. The EP that you just put out, and it's called wait, don't tell me. Scatterbrained. Yep,
Yeah.
Scatterbrained is totally different than the beatboxing that we heard at this EOW show. So I guess kind of like my question is, which style almost do you prefer? Do you prefer more of the scatterbrain kind of like musicality side of things, or are you more on like the harder beatboxing like Lava Shark side?
So the reason why I call it Scatterbrained is for the reason that I'm so invested in so many different genres of music. Because growing up, I all different types of music we're playing. Like my parents are from Ireland, so I'm first generation Irish American, so always hearing like traditional Irish music, and like my dad playing like the oldies, like country and like old classic rock radio all the time. And then my buddies in like grade school and that they were listening to hip hop and listening to rock. And then when I would go back home to Ireland to visit my family, they were listening to EDM all the time. So I was just soaking it all in as a
melting
sponge.
pot of sounds, right?
And so when I started playing guitar and then started beatboxing, it was sort of, I could kind of meld, like, I felt like I couldn't just pick one genre to stick with. I couldn't just stick with rock. I couldn't stick with punk music. And I couldn't just stick with hip hop. So it was like, how do I bridge the two? And so my EP was sort of like, what can I just put together that I can get 5 songs I can concisely finish.
Right.
That wasn't going to just blow my brains. Like, how do I involve beatboxing with this guitar? So how do I involve? And so that's the start of it. And so right now I'm currently producing my second EP and producing music for a podcast. So it's sort of, I'm getting better at like combining the two. And I think definitely beatboxing and the hip hop community is definitely going to be such a big influence because it's such like
huge.
Every time you go into it, it reinvigorates you, and it's always something new. Like there's always something new. Like the rock scene and everything and punk scene, that you can always go and there's always going to be something new. But you can't just come up with something like a beatboxer or freestyler can like in the moment without, because you have a whole band and everyone has to sort of orchestrate themselves. But when you have sort of a beatboxer and MC going at it, it's kind of unstoppable. Like
there's almost like there's more room to be like creative on the spot for sure. You know what I mean? There's definitely more of that improv aspect to it, which is really cool. It's all the like that all comes from jazz. Like hip hop comes from jazz. Beatboxing, like maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I am. Beatboxing comes from hip hop and rap. And the breakbeat part of it all. And so it kind of all comes from the same spot. But it's one of the coolest things about hip hop, in my opinion, is the improv part of it. Because in a lot of cases, and you tell me if this is true for beatboxing, but being able to like really freestyle is kind of what differentiates you as an MC. Maybe not necessarily a hip hop artist or whatever, but as an MC, if you can, really freestyle and come up with that stuff like at the EOW show, like what they were doing, like then that's like you have your chops as a rapper. I'm sure as a beatboxer, like if you can come up with all that stuff off the top of your head, that's got to give you, some badges or some stamps in the beatbox community.
Yeah, and definitely, because one thing that you can always tell a good beatboxer from like a great beatboxer, because the two of them can have like the best sounding like style or patterns or like songs, but a good beatboxer sticks to their routines, whereas a great beatboxer, when like they're battling whatever, they can morph their routines and morph their sound to whatever is going on. And like, so when you ever see some of the great beatbox battles, like one guy will do like his like famous routine, and the other guy will like be like, okay, you're gonna do that. He'll steal it real quick and then morph it and then turn it into a new song, and everyone's minds just goes crazy.
That's how you
like,
know it's
yeah. So it's like the same thing when MCs, when they're able to go back off one another and sort of kind of try and one up each other, but stay on the same sort of vibe.
Right.
Same thing with beatboxing.
There's these crazy freestylers that you kind of reminded me of just now when you're talking about flipping the style. There's these, it's called King of the Dot. There are these crazy freestylers in Canada, and they do these, big rap battles. It's very similar to like how the Rap Olympics were. And some of the ones that always win are the ones that can take lines from their opponent's last freestyle round from their last rap and bake it into their own, you know what I mean? Their own, like their own verse. That was always the most impressive thing. Even watching it, I'm like, you know, he's taking, like, that's how you know it's a true freestyle, because you don't know what the other guy's gonna say.
Yeah.
You know, so you're kind of pulling it really off the top of your head.
Yeah.
You know, that gives you real chops. It's got to be the same for beatboxing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you battle a lot?
I
Just that reaction gave me, you know.
No, I don't. So my buddies, they have the beatbox house. They have a party every month.
Yeah.
And it's basically anyone can come in, try and attempt to, like, basically perform. You have they have an open elimination round in the beginning.
Yeah.
To see who will, like, and then they'll take the top 8 out of those people who beatbox to battle.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten into the top 8. I mean, I have battled a couple times, but I haven't since then, because now the level is set so high.
It's got to be competitive as hell.
Oh my god! And like everyone loves each other, but there's always that that low key, just like,
it's supposed to be competitive, right?
I'm gonna one up you.
It's supposed to be competitive. That's part of hip hop. That's one of my favorite things about it, is that, like, it can be all love at the end of the day. Sometimes it's not. A lot of the times it's not. There's a lot of violence in hip hop and all this shit. But, like, you know, it can be love at the end of the day. But man, if you're battling, or if you're, like, you know, if you're putting out a single or whatever, like, this is supposed to be competitive.
Yeah.
You know, people are supposed to want to win and be the best. Like, that's what it is about hip hop. Like, that the whole battle thing is, I'm better than you at this, or you know what I mean? Maybe you have this on me, but you can't do that like me. Like, I got this or that. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff.
And it pushes the art so much further, because it makes everything better. Because once everyone's trying to one up each other, the whole art form just gets better.
Exactly. It's just like athletes. It's just how they always, you know what I mean? They always want to be better than each other. It's the same with this shit. It's the same with this stuff.